Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the channel. I am the Inconsequential Runner, and we, Coach Mark and I, are going to do a wrap up of the Olympics. Coach Mark, welcome to the channel. Or welcome to the channel. Welcome back. I'm too excited. We're doing the end of the Olympics. All the other events we haven't covered off. But question number one for you, Coach Mark, is not how are you? It is, do you miss the Olympics already? 24 hours later, after the closing ceremony, do you miss them? Because I do. Do you?
Oh, I know. I woke up this morning, felt a bit empty, to be honest. And but I've got a lot of extra time in my day.
Oh, yeah, quite. Look, it made the 5 a.m. alarm, feel okay. Because you had a reason to wake up and
Yeah.
oh wow.
Yes.
And it was
Well,
just
especially that the final day of track and field. I mean, the first event, the 800 meters, on at 5:15 in the morning. So I couldn't wait to get up. I couldn't lie in.
let's just jump. Okay, let's just jump
Mm.
straight into it. All right. And let's
Mm.
start the 800 meters because we've got the men's marathon, we've got the women's marathon, which I think was the best marathon I've ever witnessed. So much going on. And
Yeah.
and 200 meters to go. We need to talk about that.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yes.
Yeah, and we got the 4x4s. We've got the 1500 women's, blah, 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 blah. We'll talk about it all. Let's start with the 800 meter men. Coach Mark, I'll throw to you. What I saw was just one person run off the front, hold it the whole way, which is, for me, was just, it's just something you don't see happen. So yeah, Coach Mark, your read on it. It was a great race, but was it? It was spectacular, but it wasn't spectacular in the way I expected. Coach Mark, what do you think?
Well, God, look, I think it has to go down as the greatest mass, 800-meter race ever in terms of performances. The previous one was the London Olympics, where Rudisha broke the world record, and there was sort of national records all the way down. And last place ran 1:43, which was very similar to this race. What I thought made this race a bit more special, I mean, in a way, Rudisha was so special, he was out on his own the whole way. But this one was an actual race. I mean, the Kenyan Wanyoni, as you say, he led the whole way. He was only 0.2 of a second off Rudisha's world record. But the crucial thing is, second place was only was it 1/100th of a second behind him. I think it was Arup.
Yep, yeah, it really closed
and
up.
Third,
yep,
yeah, third place Sajati, who was the favourite, was right up behind him. And Bryce Hoppel, he would have thought he broke the American record by a long way. I mean, he got 141. 141.6, I think. The previous American was mid 142s, I think. So, I mean, if someone had said to him, "You're going to break the American record by best part of a second," you'd think he'd walk away with a medal. So he was quite bemused at the end of it, really. He was like, "Well, I've never run better. I ran, but I come away with nothing." And again, national record, sixth place, ran 142 low. And even eighth place, who was sort of off the back, ran pretty close to his PB, and he ran 143. So again, he was kind of pretty happy in a way. So I think everyone was happy, really, in that race, apart from an incredible race.
And that point you bring up in terms of how well people did in terms of their performances against other years or national records or PBs, and they ended up 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th place. That same story you can apply to so many races, where people did spectacular times in any other Olympics. Would have at least been the podium, if not gold, but they finished in 4th or 5th or 6th place. There's just been some amazing times. Wow.
Yeah, they have.
It's so good to watch. And anyone watching this, if you're new to watching athletics and you've been bitten by the bug, watch the Diamond League. I think it's probably the next best advertisement for athletics, and of course, and it happens every week. And we've got some coming up. Hold on, let me just quickly flick. Have I got a piece of paper here with something on it? We've got Wednesday. I've written it in my diary, but we've got a couple coming up in Lucerne and just Google
Is it Zurich? Is Zurich one? Is that one?
Yes, and I think that's one. But yeah, they're not too far away. And
now they're normally, I mean, I don't know if this will be the case here. I suspect they won't be any different, but normally they're the races where you can get some super fast times if the conditions are right, because people are in the shape of their life, having peaked for the Olympics. So there's either people who are riding a wave, having won a gold or performed at their best, or people who have really frustrated because they didn't nail it in the Olympics, but are still in really good shape.
Yes.
So yeah, it's often really good things happen in those.
Yeah, look, I've written them down. New Zealand time, it's the morning of the Friday the 23rd. We've got Lucerne. And then on the morning of Monday the 26th, so it'll be Sunday Europe time.
Oh, right. Quite close together, yeah.
Yeah, you got a couple close together, and I can't read my handwriting. I can't read my handwriting except for the Diamond League part, so I don't know where that is.
Sounds like Friday our time, sort of Friday night. Friday night, maybe and it's Monday morning or Sunday night, it maybe Friday night, Sunday night, that type of thing, is it? Yeah.
2-hour packages, great for watching. And so bringing it back to the Olympics, great segue, Coach Mark. You talked about the people that didn't get what they expected to get in the Olympics or what they hoped for. These races, you're going to see them, redemption races. So this is not post-Olympics. People are going hard, kind of like cycling. If you miss the Tour de France, but you're running hot, Vuelta a España, the Tour of Spain or something. What's the next event now? So let's talk about Ingebrigtsen, because he finished off the podium in the 1500. We've already talked about the 1500. If you haven't watched it, watch it. It's a great 3.5 minutes. So when it came to 5K, the one thing I was thinking is, how's he going to perform in the 5K? Because surely he wants redemption, and he did. It was a slowish 5K after 8 minutes with 5 laps to go. Still a massive cluster. And then at that point, Ingebrigtsen just strung everybody up. And even actually with the notes I made is 600 meters to go, it was still all boxed up, but it got strung out enough in the last lap and a half that anyone who was boxed close to the inside of the track found room to come out, because it all got strung out. Great run by Ingebrigtsen. No one was close. You can look at the timing, but no one was giving him the pressure.
No, never looked in danger, really, did he?
Fisher looked absolutely great.
Great Olympics for him.
Gosh.
You wonder what on earth the Ethiopians have been doing at these Olympics. They've had just weird tactics, we talk about the 1500 in a little bit, but I mean, again, this was another, the world lead was Gebre Hiwot from Ethiopia. He was just enormous at the back. I mean, you'd think he's run the fastest time in the world this year, almost the world record. And you'd think if anyone was going to take it out and make it hard for Ingebrigtsen, it would be him. But he was way at the back, and then he just took off with about 600 to go or something. But that just played into Ingebrigtsen's hand. It was meat and drink for him. And then Gebre Hiwot just faded. As soon as Ingebrigtsen caught him, he was off the back.
Yeah, no.
So I don't know what was going on there. Yeah.
Did he finish last or close to it?
Or last?
Am I getting ahead of my notes? There was something, I might be getting a bit ahead of my notes, but there's one race where someone went from first to last. I might be getting ahead of myself. But yeah, I noticed someone went backwards at a rate of knots. They were right up the front doing a lot of work and went back. Oh gosh, where was it? Anyway, no. But yeah, okay. Ingebrigtsen, don't believe all the press if you're sort of new to running and you've heard bad stories about his results. It's not, he didn't get what he wanted in the 1500, but remember this, he is the double Olympic champion in 5,000 meters, back-to-back golds. I mean, for most people in their career, if they had that, stellar. And that is just a slim, I suppose, slither of the accolades and what he's accomplished. So, and he's still young, a lot to come. Same with Josh Kerr, same with Whiteman. So yeah, lots to come. Gosh, it's so exciting.
Coach I can only think of two other people that have done that actually. Won a gold in the 1500 and the 5K. That's very El Garouge famously did it in Athens. So that's 20 years ago. And before that, the only one I can think of is Paavo Nurmi, 1924. I don't think anyone's done it apart from that. So that's how rare it is. I mean, they're two quite different events. I always remember Steve Ovett, people kept pushing him to do a 5K, and he said a 5K is so much further than a 1500. He said it's not just a natural progression, 1500, 5K, it's just, what's the difference?
Yeah, it's three times.
You go 3 3/4 to 12 and a half laps.
Yeah.
So I wonder if Ingebrigtsen will take up the marathon at some point. I mean, he's still very young, isn't he? But I can see him being a Hassan,
Yep.
Well, certainly a Kipchoge. I mean, Kipchoge was a 5K runner, and so was Gebre Selassie and Bekele. I can see Ingebrigtsen.
I think so too.
Storming the marathon.
Because people are sort of saying that to him, the sort of floating the idea to him, and he's not batting it away. And I think Ingebrigtsen, the reason why I think he's thinking of it is he wants to be, this is just my view, the greatest runner of all time. And if he can win everything in every event and show that range, I think for him, I think that's a big thing. So I think he's got that in the back of his mind too. And as you say, it's been done by others. Perfect segue. So Eliud Kipchoge, we'll talk about the men's marathon in a second, but the segue you've set up, Coach Mark, is talking about the range of performances. So we had Hassan from the Netherlands run the 5K, run the 10K or the 5,000 meters, 10,000 meters, got a bronze in each, then comes to the marathon. Let's talk about the marathon now, and wins it. And what a race. We'll talk about the men's in a second. Men's got ran first. Women's got ran second. It was the last athletic event of the Olympics. Well done to the organizers. What a way to finish, and what a way to ensure that the women's marathon got the eyeballs and the support it deserved. It deserved, because everybody was amped up like drug addicts on athletics, and the fact no one had anything else to watch except for the women's marathon, it got the eyeballs it deserved, and it was the best marathon I've ever seen too. That it was a real race of attrition, but going into the last 2K, you still had a group of 5, and gamesmanship and the patience and the waiting and who's going to go. It was a thriller. And then down to 2 with about 300 meters to go, and then with 200 meters to go, a bump off each other. Let's talk about that in a moment. It's clear in my mind who was at fault. And it's okay, no harm done, because I don't think it affected the result. The result was deserved. Hassan crossed the line, first place. What a run. What a run. 2 days, 48 hours after the 10,000 meters, where she took bronze, she gets gold in a marathon. Tapering doesn't exist, Coach Martin. You must be changing all of our plans.
No, throw away the book. Yeah.
Coach Mark, over to you. Talk about whatever you want to talk about in the women's marathon. What a race.
I honestly didn't think Hassan would have the legs. I really didn't. I was waiting for her to fade, and she did. She did fade up the big hill. I mean, what made this in a way so interesting was the course was unlike any of the big major events you see. It was a brutally hilly course, 2 big hills, especially the second hill. And so you didn't just see, as you do in, say, London Marathon, Berlin, all those, where you just see a big pack just all running at a very even pace the whole way until people drop off, and then there's one guy left, or maybe one and two others. This one here, it was to and fro, and up that big hill. If you remember, Hassan and Obiri, the Kenyan, who got they both got dropped. They both dropped off on the big hill. But I think that was a smart move. They caught up again on the downhill. Then Obiri put in the work, and Hassan, I don't think she hit the lead until 200 to go. I don't think she ever showed in the front. She was always just hanging in the pack, didn't she?
Yep, that's
finding a time.
She sat in the whole way. Like if you're a cyclist, the perfect strategy. Just sit in the bunch, close to the front. Don't do any work. Keep your powder dry. Save as much energy. And on the hills, I think there was a distinct difference in performance of those runners that kept their powder dry on the hills, didn't run them hard, ran a little bit under their natural performance to keep it in the legs. They performed better. Where you saw some, like the Australians, they loved it. They were smoking up it. They were faster than the others, but I don't think they were faster than the others. I think they just burnt all their matches, and they blew up big time and went backwards big time. And I think the hill was a deciding, especially, what was it, 27K mark? I think it started to come up. It's a couple of K up, couple of K down. And it's not just the incline, as runners know, the decline can really smash up your legs. So, amazing.
Yeah, and it was a steep decline, wasn't it?
You saw people with their arms out like this. It was
you did. When do you see that, Mira? Yeah, that's right. That's right. No, you did right. It's using your strength to keep a cushion after the hill, not to show your strength by blasting up the hill. Yeah, I agree. Because after the hill is when, typically the walls start, say the marathon starts at 30K, that was after the hill.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I love the course. Did you love the course? I love that they reinvented something. It made it special in my mind. And the scenery, and my wife, who's not a big runner by any stretch, she's no runner. Well, what do I mean? Not a big runner, no runner. But she watched it and she enjoyed it because of the race, the drama, but more so the scenery and
scenery. Perfection. Yeah, really was.
Let's move to the men's marathon, but just before we do, big shout out to Catherine Switzer, who, for those who know their history, she was the first woman to run the Boston Marathon, one of the first women to run a marathon ever. Remember, when she ran it, women weren't allowed to run the marathon. So she entered under the name Kay Switzer. So they didn't know that she was a woman. When she turned up to run that marathon, she had, for those of you that follow American football, had a lot of people running interference around her. She literally had a squad protecting her. She got manhandled, tried to get pulled off the course. She finished it. Historic moment. And to have her in Paris, and she lives in New Zealand. She lives in New Zealand. So to have her in Wellington, the big W, give it up. Is that a term? I don't know. But it was so great to see her there too. So shout out to Catherine Switzer. Men's marathon. Oh, you can lead us off. That was also a fantastic race. But you lead us off for that one, Mark, and tell us what you know about Eliud Kipchoge, who won the previous two marathons, but fell to bits in this one, which it can happen. It can happen to anyone. Coach Mark, what was your take on the men's marathon, which happened the day before?
Well, that was when we first saw this course was quite unique, and it wasn't going to be your typical big major marathon where it strung out. It was a bunched, and then on the hill it was much like you see in the Tour de France, where they hit a hill and suddenly it goes to single file and people drop away, never to be seen again. Other people dropped away and then came strong on the downhill, as you say. They ran it smart. Toller, the guy who won, I mean, that was quite different tactics than the women's, wasn't it? He went early up the hill, wasn't it? Did he break away up the hill? He
did. He went too. So, I thought there was no chance. I thought the people were going to hang him out to dry, let him wear himself out, and then just haul him in. Didn't happen.
Yeah.
Credit to him.
his redemption for Ethiopia. You know, they've had all
Yeah.
these people not performing. He saved them.
Yeah.
And he was only he was only a last minute entrant as well. He replaced who was it? He replaced one of the favourites, obviously, for Ethiopia, who had to pull out. And he came in as the substitute.
Oh,
So
well,
that's not
he
bad,
made
is
it
it?
count. I had no idea.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
he
so,
got a American
he
record.
flew down the hill and just held on, didn't he? In fact, when it got to so the group were pulling him in slightly. There was a group of three who were pulling him. They were pulling him in a little bit, but then they're suddenly thinking, okay, there's three of us. There's only 2 medals between the three of us here. Do I want to be leading out these other 2 people? So then that played into Tola's hands, I think, because then they're thinking tactically. So then Tola actually pulled away even further.
Great observation.
And they were racing for silver. They realised they couldn't get gold. They were wanting to protect the medal. And the Belgian guy, Bashar Ali, he got another medal, which again is very rare. He got the bronze at Tokyo, and he got the silver here. So that's an incredible performance. Two consecutive marathons.
So, actually, a couple of quick observations. One, of course, it was the Olympic record, and everyone's wondering how on earth can you get an Olympic record on a course like that. And the other thing I'll say is big shout out to you, Coach Mark, because you called it. You said keep an eye on the United States boys. You think they've been coached well? You called it. They came in 8th and 9th, top 10, both of them. So they had a fantastic run. Fantastic run.
They both ran close to their personal bests, which is staggering, really, on that course. Amazing. Yeah, absolutely amazing run. And the British guy, Caress, again, he ran very close to his PB. He was 4th, so he was just narrowly off the podium. But a great run by him. But many people didn't perform well, as often happens in these things. One of them, you said, was Kipchoge and Bekele.
Yes, Bekele.
And you could tell early on they were in trouble, couldn't you? Kipchoge, he actually said, oh, because they said, oh, that was at the hills, and he said, no, I was fine on the hills, but my legs were just got so sore and tired, and it looked like his hip as well. He was telegraphing that. He might have been putting a brave face on it. I don't know. But it was quite clear he wasn't affected. But he did you see at the end? Because he had to pull out, of course. But he gave his singlet and his shoes to volunteers, who I think people who were there when he pulled out, I guess, and maybe sort of helped them and supported him. So he just gave them to them. Just a real star. Big smile he had on his face as well.
I heard that he gave us socks as well, and he was pretty
socks,
close to getting as scantily
you wouldn't wash them,
as
would you?
Can. Well, being as generous as you can. Yeah, he felt that by line. Okay, women's 1500. Now, for me, it was all about Jessica Hull and how she was going to go holding on to Faith, and it was more or less a big repeat of what we've seen in the Diamond League. Jessica Hull continues to prove her stellar season, but Faith just continues to prove her absolute class, just absolutely running away with it. You had Sergey go to the front. Oh, this was it. This was the event. And she finished last. So she was at the front for a long time, and she finished last. That was the event I was thinking of. So she led it for a long time, finished last.
So if you remember, Sergey, so she was in the 5K early on, and she had the bus stuck with
That's
with
right.
Kipyegon. Really, they almost had a fight.
And she got Faith Kipyegon got disqualified.
You got disqualified, yes.
We did. So this was talking redemption, like Ingebrigtsen. This was for Faith Kipyegon.
Yeah.
And
so then Sergei entered she ran in the 10K and didn't perform well there. And then she turns up in the 1500s. I think she ran the 50. She ran the 1500 heats and then the 10K final. She might have done.
Yeah, I'm not too sure.
Yeah, but and then blasted out with a 59-second first lap.
Yes, that's what
You wonder who's advising her, eh?
59-second first 400. How fast was that? The other observation I had was Muir had probably one of her hardest races where she was like a bungee cord, she couldn't let go.
Yeah.
To catch up a lot. With 2 laps to go, she was in 12th place, Muir. So what we expected. Then she burst, she closed the gap with 400 to go. Then she was gapped again, even in that last lap. And she went and closed it again. And I think she finished up
close to middling, wasn't she? Just 5th, wasn't she? Yeah.
So
the American women, St. Pierre and Nikki Hiltz, many were tipping they would get on the podium. They looked so good in the American trials. I think they made the mistake of going with Sergei. They basically went with her, and that told it. And Muir, although she was way off the back at start, she actually ran the first lap in 61. So she was actually running quite sensible, but I guess unfortunately for her, a gap sort of got away. But she almost timed that perfectly, didn't she?
Yeah, she did.
It looked like she was having a bad race. That's what I thought. But then you realise she was actually probably pacing it a bit more sensibly than a lot of the others, because she came flying past Hiltz and St. Pierre at the end. So as you say, Hull held on, and the big one that I was supporting was Georgia Bell, who she runs for my old Harrier club back in England. So I was, and she was in 4th all the way down the straight, and it was almost as though with 20 meters to go, she thought, hang on a moment, I think I can go a little bit quicker. And she just did a spurt and went into 3rd and very nearly caught Hull, actually. So they were like 10th away. So that was a big moment for her. And she like Hull, I think, paced it very well. She wasn't as far back as Laura Muir, but she was just a bit behind the Americans. So she got that, just a second slower makes quite a difference. So she still had a lot to give in the straight. But again, Kipyegon, just a class above everyone else. She just ran away down the straight. It reminded me a lot of Ingebrigtsen, actually, with redemption for the 5K, and a class above everyone else in the second race. Incredible. She's the only person ever to run. That's 3 in a row 1500 meter titles. Can you believe that?
Yeah.
So it's 3 Olympics. She's won the 1500 meters. That's never been done. I can't imagine that ever being done again. I don't know how old she is.
I think they were talking about the three-peats in the Olympics, and I think, oh gosh, don't quote me on this because I may have misheard, but I think they were only saying it's been done a handful of times, and we had 2 in this Olympics. We had Kipyegon, and we had the heptathlete from Belgium. Her name
Tian.
Yeah, she just held on. In the 800 meters, she did just enough to hold on, and she ended up with her 3rd gold by a factor of, I think, about 3 seconds. She could afford to drop another 3 seconds or 2 seconds. So
yes, it was close, wasn't it? That's right.
Those multi-disciplines I've never really sort of got into, but that one actually got me quite excited. All right, let's talk about let's finish with a couple of moments of controversy. So one was, we'll do this in a second, we'll come back to this, Faith Kipyegon when she got DQ'd, and also the clash between Sifan Hassan with 200 to go in the marathon. so let's come back to that in just a moment. Let's wrap up a couple of other things. The other three things I'd written down was the 400-meter men's hurdles. I was like, yep, that was cool. Didn't excited me. I mean, there were, out of the big three, there was only two, I think, that showed. Ry Benjamin, well done. Boom, stood up, ripped it.
Yeah.
Karsten Warholm, you would expect to be there and thereabouts. He was, but Dos Santos was a bit of a surprise. Slow start, really slow start, made it up from 250 mark, and he deserved the bronze that he got, and he was there and thereabouts. And you just wonder if his start was a little bit better, he would have been gold. But yeah, that's what I saw in the 400.
Pretty much went with the form book, wasn't it? Yeah, it was the Diamond League just before the Olympics, where the three of them ran against each other, and that's how it went, didn't it? So nothing really changed there. Yeah, which often happens, and where you're all in a lane, everyone runs as hard as they can. Tactics aren't so much a factor. So if you're better than someone, it's harder to make it up, because you can't make it up on tactic.
No,
you've got to find some seconds from somewhere.
Yeah. Okay, the 4x400s. So I'm saving the more exciting one for last. So we'll do the men's. So redemption. We're talking redemption for the US squad, because they dropped the baton, or no, they passed the baton out of zone and got disqualified in the 100s. They can't get that right on paper. They have been the best for the last 5 Olympics. They have not been on the podium for any of those. They just can't get it right. In those teams that know how to change a baton and just pass it at the right time, they end up on. But 400 meters, the pressure's off a little bit more, and the States ran away with it, with Botswana breathing down their necks. But yeah, those two were well ahead of anyone else. Again, for me, nothing to talk about there, because it was a great performance, but no surprises. It was just form book. Mitch, Mark, anything from you on that one?
Well, remember as well as the States were missing their Quincy Hall, who was the individual gold medalist. He wasn't in their team.
Yeah.
He had a twinge, I believe, in warm up, and so they, like they can do, they just draft someone else in who's
massive debt.
They would have won by more, I guess, but the big thing was Tebogo against Ry Benjamin in the last lap. Yeah, the 200-meter gold medalist versus the 400-meter hurdle gold medalist, going at it over 400 meters, and they were very even. And Ry Benjamin showed his strengths. Yeah, he held him off.
Real powerful.
Yeah, deserved win.
Then you had the women's 400. I wanted to see Sydney McLaughlin come up against Femke Bol, but the States put Sydney McLaughlin-Livoni as the second leg, which made a gap that no one else was able to close. So United States gold, well done. And Femke Bol, again, class, got the baton, and with 200 to go, still in 4th place, and overhauled the other two to get into 2nd place. Silver for her team. Her class is still there. What a great run. What a great
So Sydney McLaughlin was a second faster than everyone else on her lap, but that's a bit misleading, because Sydney McLaughlin was running all out on lap 2. She ran 47.7, actually it was, which the women's world record, which is an East German from 1985, 47.6. So
we put a little
so it gives an idea. She's given that she's a 400 hurdler, she should be. I mean, she what it basically says is she probably would have won the 400 meters flat. But Femke Bol ran a tactical last lap. She basically just eased up on the 3 in front of her. 2 in front of her, when the 2 in front of her just stuck in behind them, came into the straight, moved out, blasted past them. There was no reason, there was no need for her to run hard all the way. And she still ran mid 48s. In fact, she ran 47.9, didn't she, in the mixed relay? So it shows how close they are, doesn't it? She, we know where she came to gold in the mixed relay. She did 47.9, McLaughlin 47.7 in this relay. So that's pretty close.
All right, here we go. Now we've got just over a minute to go to do a wrap on this. So there were 2 moments of controversy. Faith Kipyegon, should she got disqualified in the was it the 1500? The 1500? No, was it? Yes, it was.
Yeah. No, I don't think so. I think
me neither.
That was
No, I couldn't
it was
see.
just,
To me, it was like that good old saying, 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. Okay.
yeah.
I totally agree. All right. And the marathon, when the 2 runners came together, Sifan Hassan and who's the other one? Name escapes me.
Yes, I forget her name. She was the world record holder, actually, is it?
Yeah, but in my mind, the Ethiopian, it was the Ethiopian that came in on Sifan Hassan. So when I heard that the Ethiopians launched the protest, I was shocked by that, because I would have thought it was
that does surprise me. Yeah.
That was, so the Ethiopian and the she got questioned by the media in the press conference afterwards, going, why did you launch a complaint? I think generally everyone thinks Sifan Hassan, she had the line, and the other runner just came and closed it down. But Coach Mark, how did you
ran her into the sort of the hoardings, didn't she?
Yeah.
Again, I think that's just one of those things, really. I don't think there's any either of them were really at fault. It's one of, she was obviously trying to, she was sort of running the tangent, wasn't she? The Ethiopian Hassan was trying to come around her, and she obviously saw her come on, and a bit like in the 1500 with Ingebrigtsen, and they sort of move towards them to try and block them off a little bit.
Hey, it's racing.
No one
fell over. The results were what they were, especially in the marathon. It was all good. Coach Mark, thank you so much for the review. Everybody else that's watching, good luck to you. Now the Olympics have gone, finding something else. You do have the Diamond Leagues. Check them out. Watch them. They'll help you through this lull that we have after the Olympics. If you want to get in touch with Coach Mark, his details are in the show notes. That's it from us. We'll catch up with you again soon. Hit like, hit subscribe, do all the good stuff. My mum loves it when you do it. So make my mum happy. Hit subscribe. Coach Mark, thank you very much.
Been a pleasure.